So here's the deal. People don't regret moving to Lincoln because it's bad. They regret it because it's too good at the wrong things. They got exactly what they wanted, just not what they needed. And that right there is where things start to unravel. If you've been looking at Lincoln and you're thinking, yeah, bigger house, quieter streets, more space, well, definitely not wrong. But there is a side to that decision that nobody really talks about until after they've already moved in. I'm Reese, and I help people relocating to the greater Sacramento area, figure out exactly where they want to live based on their lifestyle, their budget, and their goals. So if you're even considering Lincoln, smash that like button, subscribe, and stick with me, because this could save you from making a very expensive mistake. This video is definitely for you if you're moving from out of the area, you want more house for your money, you're thinking about a quieter, slower lifestyle, or you're just tired of feeling like you're packed into like a tight suburbia. And Lincoln looks like the answer. But here's the biggest mistake people make. They choose Lincoln based on how it feels on a Saturday afternoon and not how it functions on Tuesday morning. Big difference. Because living somewhere is not the same as visiting. In Lincoln, it sells really well on the weekends. Now let's start with the big one. A lot of people move to Lincoln because they want more space. Bigger homes, bigger lots, just more breathing room. And on paper, it's a win. But here's what people assume. If I get more space, my life will just get better. What often happens? Your house gets bigger, but your world gets smaller. Because now everything that you used to do takes longer. Quick Target run, now it's a trip. Meeting some friends for dinner, now it's a plan. Running some errands, now that's going to take a block of your day. I had a client move out to Lincoln, and they absolutely love the house. They got a much bigger house. And I checked in with them a few months later, and they were kind of a little disappointed. They said, we spent a lot of time driving now. And that's the trade-off. And who does this usually hit the hardest? Busy families, people that are really used to convenience, and really anyone that values time efficiency. Now let's talk about the one that a lot of people try to downplay, and that's going to be the commute. People look at it on a map and they say, well, it's not that far. Technically you're right, but it's not the distance that gets you. It's the pattern of the drive, not the length. Lincoln funnels into like a limited number of main roads. So during peak hours, you're not just driving, you're waiting and maybe questioning your life choices at yet another red light. And here's how it happens. That not so bad commute turns into a daily mental tax. Not terrible, just very consistent. And that consistency, that's what really wears people down. And those affected by this the most, well, people commuting into Sacramento. Actually, you know what? Not even all the way to Sacramento. Just that trek from 65 to 80 is, kind of an act of Congress in and of itself. And for parents, doing school and activities and sports and events and plus their work runs, it can be pretty taxing. Now this one really surprises people, because more quiet is kind of the goal, right? Until it's not. People assume that, peaceful equals a better lifestyle. What actually happens though, is peaceful can start to feel pretty isolating, especially if you're coming from a more active area. In Lincoln, the restaurants close earlier, there's less nightlife, and far fewer spontaneous things to go out and do. Don't get me wrong, it's not that Lincoln is lacking. It's just not built for constant activity. I had a couple relocate to Lincoln from out of state, and first few weeks, they loved it. But a couple months in, they told me that we just didn't realize how much we relied on things, kind of being around. And that can be a pretty big lifestyle shift for some people. So, like younger buyers and really social households and, people that really value like variety and spontaneity, well, you guys may have a little harder time adjusting to Lincoln. This is where most people's regret actually comes from. It's not the house, it's not the price, it's the lifestyle mismatch. A lot of people just assume, it's a really great house, I'm just going to really love the life too. But the house, it's just 20% of your daily experience. The other 80%, your routines, your drive time, your access, and your energy. And if all those don't match your lifestyle, you will feel it fast. So like a buyer that, works from home, rarely goes out, values peace, and Lincoln's an absolute dream. But for someone that's, constantly on the move and needs a lot of action, well, Lincoln might equal friction. It's the same city, but two completely different outcomes. All right, now let's talk about expectations, because Lincoln has a reputation, safe and clean and family friendly, and it's growing. All true, but here's the problem. Reputation creates unrealistic expectations. People expect everything to just feel perfect, and when it isn't, they start second guessing the move. Small inconveniences feel bigger. Minor annoyances, they feel constant. And suddenly, they're comparing the reality with what they thought it would be like and not what it actually is. And this can really impact, out of area buyers, first time home buyers, and really anyone that relies, heavily on online research. Now, this one really costs people the most. People move and they think, we'll figure it out when we get there. That's not a strategy. That's a gamble. Because once you buy, you're really locked into that location. You can't move the grocery store closer. You can't make your commute shorter. And you can't magically add lifestyle options. I've seen people try to adjust for like months and eventually they either settle or they start thinking about moving again. And depending on how soon you want to move again, that could be a very expensive lesson. So let's kind of balance this out. Because Lincoln is not a bad place. It's just not for everyone. Lincoln is perfect for, people that really value quiet space, retirees or near retirees, people that work from home, families prioritizing newer homes and a real value on price per square foot, and people that just simply don't mind driving for things. If your life happens at home, then Lincoln works. Now, Lincoln is not ideal for people that value convenience and proximity, really social and on-the-go lifestyles, daily commuters, buyers that want walkability and quick access to everything, or people that get frustrated by repetitive driving. If a big part of your life happens outside your home, Lincoln will test you. So here's the bottom line. People don't regret Lincoln because it's a bad city. They regret it because they didn't match the city with their lifestyle. And that mistake, that's incredibly common. Because every city looks good until you live in it. The goal isn't to find the best city on paper. It's to find the best fit for you. And that's exactly what I help people do every single day. So if you're thinking about moving to Lincoln or anywhere in the greater Sacramento area, call, text, schedule a consultation. Let's map this out the right way before you make a move you regret. Because a 30-minute conversation now can save you from a 3-year mistake later. All my contact info is down in the description. Ready to stop scrolling and start making moves? Let's make it happen. Also, comment below where you're moving from. I'm curious. And don't forget to smash those like and subscribe buttons. We'll see you on the next one. That's a wrap.